JRE number 2013. Some explorers believe parts of the Amazon are still hiding ancient secrets no modern map can explain.
I was very lost and very alone, and I was like on like day 6 or something of being lost. I don't remember. No, it wasn't that long of a solo. But I was lost and I was scared. And I was in a
How
hammock.
did you get lost?
Well, as soon as you leave the river, like you could literally walk 15 feet and then be like, I'm just going to come right back. And the jungle will like Blair Witch you. Because it's all green. So you just like think you know what you're doing. Just last week, I wanted to cross from one trail to another trail. And I was like, I'm a guide. I can do this. And I came back out on the same trail like a half hour later. And I was like, yep, that's what I meant to do. Let's go. And like, happens to JJ all the time.
Really?
You cannot find your way in the
Do
jungle.
you use a compass?
Don't use a compass.
Why not?
Because actually, apparently some of the iron content and some of the saps in the trees pulls the needle. It doesn't work really well.
Even the trees are trying to trick you. Oh my God.
GPSs run out of batteries. You know, it's like you really you have to learn your bushcraft. You have to learn how to navigate in the jungle, and it's like which is pretty much you have to get just amazing at dead reckoning and remembering your course, because it's so dense that like we play with people. We go, we'll go see if you can go from here to there. And it's like they can't go there. They can't do that as soon as you leave the river. So like I had gone out on this solo, gotten lost, gotten scared, and then been like, oh shit, what if I just like into the wilded myself? What if now I'm going to be the next kid that went and died in the Amazon? And like I like slept in the hammock, but this is like as I was learning, so I didn't realize that the hammock that I had bought had a mosquito net on top, but the back was not mosquito proof, so they could stick through. So my back was being destroyed by mosquitoes as I'm trying to sleep. And like a couple of nights of that. And so I finally fall asleep and I wake up in the middle of the night and I hear breathing right next to my face. And I like wanted to turn my headlamp on and I just hear like right here. Like I could feel her breath. And I was like 6 inches away from a jaguar's face. And she just like, and then left. And she just came in. She wanted to see what that was. She was like, you're not going to move. That's what you're not going to do. She growled like right into my ear. And then later on. But that one's cute, though. That's a cute picture. That's a cute jag.
Wow. And they vary in colors and the spots and everything, right? Like some of them are much darker.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, actually somebody recently was like, where do you see panthers? And I went on this whole thing of like, a leopard or a jaguar, just like you can have albinos. You have a melanistic one. Yeah.
Wow.
So like people would call that a panther, but a panther's not a real. There's no animal that's a panther. It's like a Kleenex. It's like it's just another name for it.
That is so beautiful.
But a black
Look
jag.
at that thing.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Yeah, in South India they have the black leopards.
What an amazing looking animal.
Look at the muscles.
Yeah, it's an amazing killing machine. And so humans don't get taken out by them?
I can only really speak for our region of the Amazon, but I haven't even heard a story about it.
Really?
Like no one. Our jags are just, we have like record numbers of jags. Like I think they're listed as near threatened, and we have like some of the strongest remaining jaguar populations in the world. It's incredible.
And
like
you barely see them.
We barely see them. The last one I saw was 2 years ago. And some people like go their whole lives without seeing them.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because people walk off into the jungle and they don't realize. People, it's so funny living in the wild and seeing people show up there. And it's like people come and they're like, they smell like shampoo and cologne and bug spray and deodorant. And they're just like, if to an animal that has such better senses than we do, they might as well just have like sirens on them. And like you are this shiny, glittering foghorn of attention in the jungle, and like every animal is going to run away from you. And so people are always like, how come you go out and you see so much stuff? And it's like, I only shower in the river. I live out in the jungle. I smell like they do. Like I'm out there for weeks, and it's like I'm not going and like shampooing my hair. It's like, and so like to these animals, like they know when you're coming. Like a jag's just going to be like, oh, there's a human there.
Do you wash with soap when you wash in the river?
I do use a biodegradable soap. You have to keep your skin clean or else you just get infections. But like for the most part, like my clothing, everything, like I don't use anything that's scented because of that, because I want to be out there and and just blend in. And that's whether I'm out in the field with elephants or whether you're out in in Africa or India or whether you're in the Amazon. I want to be sort of like included. I want to blend in. And so like not that long ago, I was checking a camera trap and I thought it was we had students at our research station at the time, and I heard like the leaves going like and it was like September, so the jungle was dry. And I turned around and I was going to scare this person because I was going to be like, who walks that loud in the jungle? Like, you have no respect. And I turned around with my finger up, and this jag walked right by me on the trail and just went, what's up? And just kept walking. And I was like, finger up. And I was like, okay.
Oh, Lord.
But I took that as good because at least I was, my like scent trail was so that he didn't know I was there. I could see it on his face. He didn't care. He was like, hey. But I mean, he was 6 feet away. He didn't even break his stride. He just walked by me and was like, yo, what's up?
They don't think of you as food, so they just keep moving.
No, and I think they're, with big cats, they're the mothers teach the young how to hunt, and I think they're so oriented, like with tigers, they're so oriented on horizontal, get the neck from underneath, break the neck from up top. And it's like when they see a vertical animal walking by, I think they're like, first of all, I don't know what this is. Second of all, it smells weird. Third of all, where do I even, you got to be desperate to take that risk. I don't think that lions are a different story, but with jags, with tigers, with leopards, I've never ever felt any fear being around a jaguar, like any fear. I don't even take pictures of them. I just enjoy it.
Wow.
I let other people take pictures. If I'm with people, I'll let them take pictures, but I will not lift my camera for a jag. I'll just stand there and just
take it in.
Yeah. You get to see them so rarely. I don't want to sit there finally seeing one and then put another screen in front of my face. Look through it through some glass. Like,
whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, that's our camera.
They've started them. That's from yours?
Yeah.
Wow. Look at that thing.
Yeah.
That is so majestic. What an amazing animal. With his glowing eyes.
Well, that's the crazy thing. You shine your headlamp into the night, and then when things look back at you, you got to wonder what it is. It's like,
well, when there's two eyes in the front, it's
two eyes in the front, yeah. But sometimes the deer, but then the jags do this thing where they move their head like this. They try and see around your headlamp. They'll like do this little side to side thing. Like the deer, they'll just blink at you. They'll just blink, and so you start learning the eye shines. You start learning the. Because then you can be out there at night and you look at something and people are like, oh shit, dude, it's a jag. And it's like, no, it's a deer.
When you were saying that the uncontacted tribe were speaking in monkey calls, what are they doing?
So JJ's dad used to tell us, he said, if you're ever out in the forest and something doesn't sound right, he was like, get out of there. And he was like, because they will use the tinamou calls, like the undulated tinamou is like, but like we know what that sounds like, but we also know what it doesn't sound like. And so like every now and then you'll hear one that's, different. And like we all get freaked out because we're like, that's how we do it. That's how JJ taught me to do it. Like if there was a bunch of tourists right there and JJ wanted me to come over and like chill with him and we wanted to go hang, he would just do that. He'd get my attention. And like I know that it's not a tinamou. I know it's JJ. And so it's like they've taken that to a whole nother level where they can communicate. And so there was a group of guys who was upriver and they got surrounded. They heard monkey calls coming from different directions, and they realized that they were completely surrounded. And like at least one of the guys who was telling it to me, he got in the water and like crawled like a turtle and like escaped. And then the tribe showed up, and then there was this whole showdown where they actually shot one of the community members, and then one of the guys who knows some of their language was saying that it looked like they were mad with the guy that shot the guy. They were mad with him. Like they were like, why did you do that? Now there's going to be retaliation. Like, why did you shoot him? And like there was like a whole discussion happening while these people were like huddled in the stream waiting to see if they got killed too. So it's like I don't really, like, so when you get these loggers going in there, it's like, yo, we'll pay you to protect the rainforest, and like you don't have to do this. You don't have to be going into these areas that are that dangerous. So yeah, so at this point now, though, through all of this, though, we've established jungle keepers. We have 50,000 acres. We're trying to do 300,000 acres. And if we can do that, we'll basically be helping to establish one of the largest protected areas in the Amazon rainforest, which will encompass these uncontacted people. And they can stay uncontacted and they can stay safe and do whatever they want to do in the jungle, guarding the secret pyramids and the giant ground sloths or whatever the hell it is that they do. but we're close.
Now, how many uncontacted tribes are they aware of?
I think there's like over 100 different groups across the Amazon. Wow. There's also varying degrees of, and the other thing is the conversation so often gets turned to like they're, violent, and that they're people that live out in the jungle. And I have no idea how they do it either, because, at night we need headlamps. We don't have night vision. All the animals have night vision. So it's like, what do they do that night? They're able to make fire in the jungle at night every day. If I gave you an entire book of matches, me and you, we sat down right now in the jungle. I was like, okay, cool. You got a machete and a book of matches. First one to make fire wins. We couldn't do it. It's wet. Everything is wet. So how are they? Are they doing bow drill? What are they doing? So
we don't know.
We don't really know. No. We don't know how they do that. We don't know how they stay infection free. We don't know what they do with their old people. We never see old people. We never really see children. And so like they move around, and we see like groups of men on beaches. We see like that aerial picture where you see like a family group out. That's in turtle season, where you have turtles laying their eggs on the beaches, and the tribes will come out because that's easy food. You just pick up turtle eggs and eat them. But there's so much that we don't know about their lifestyle. And like people get so many things wrong. Just, if you leave them alone, then they won't kill you. If then people go, oh, they're Stone Age tribes. And it's like, well, they're not Stone Age tribes because they're alive right now. And you couldn't live out in the jungle, but they can.
Right.
So it's like there's elements of their botanical knowledge, their medicinal knowledge, their creation myths, their view of history. I mean, they're coming at reality from a whole different perspective than we are.
Wow. And there's really no way to get... Does anyone speak their language? Do we know what language they all speak? Is it universal? Do they have different languages?
It's not universal, and there was someone in our region who captured a child from the uncontacted, raised him in a very remote community, and people have tried, anthropologists have tried, they've been like, hey, so what was it like when you grew up? And it's dark. He's just like, I don't remember. Like no one's been able to get any information out of him.
How old was he when they captured him?
I think like 6. Like under 10 for sure.
Does he not remember? Or does he just not want to talk about it?
I don't know. There's all these underlying stories. Oh man, yeah. There's just. Then last year, some loggers went to a place they shouldn't have gone, and they got whacked. And sort of like the WhatsApp underground in Peru. Like everyone was sending each other pictures because one of the cops sent to his family a picture of what the bodies looked like on day 6, laying on the beach with arrows in them and shit. And it was like, oh my god. It was like this. It makes you stay in bed at night. You're just like, I am not going out.
Jesus.
But I mean, yeah, it's a complicated topic because there's people that want to contact them. There's people that want to leave them alone. And then, of course, there's missionaries that are like, they need the Bible.
What did you think about Lost City of Z?
I loved the book. I wanted more from the movie.
Of course.
Yeah.
There's only so much time and
yeah.
Hollywood fuckery.
Oh, God. The book was fantastic. And that guy was out of his mind.
Out of his mind.
Out of his mind.
Yeah.
Percy Fawcett.
Yeah.
Percy Fawcett. But the fact that he could go on those expeditions and not get infected. Mm-hmm. I've been brutally hold on, let me show you. I'll show you this picture. I don't think there's any way of pulling this up, but
oh my God.
The jungle just gets into your skin.
Oh, what is that on your face?
MRSA infection. It started mosquito bites, and then I would scratch, and then you don't realize you're spreading it with your fingernails. And you go like this and shit. And so then, I almost died from that. But I was staying in the jungle to take care of an anteater. But it's like,
how did you get free of that? If you're in the jungle, did you use antibiotics?
Go home.
You just go home.
I had to go home at that point. I remember I got to JFK, and the guy, he looked down at my passport. He goes, yeah, what were you doing in Peru? And then he looked up at me and he goes, buddy, what the fuck? And I was like, I'm just trying to get it. And he stamped it. He was like, go, 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 go. He was like, go to the doctor. I can't believe they let me through.
Right. You could have been infected with some crazy plague.
Could have had monkey Ebola.
Yeah.
It looked bad. And I spent days in the hospital. It was really, really bad. But for Percy Fawcett to not, they would say other people would be dying. There was somebody, I think the guy's name was Murray. He came from the Shackleton expedition. He'd already been out with Shackleton, so he was like, I'm a real explorer. And he didn't last any time with Fawcett. Because Percy Fawcett was just like, you can't keep up? Go die. You can go die with the mules. He just wouldn't stop. So my question is like, did he go out and eventually get killed, or did he eventually go out and like find the tribe that made him their king and just?
There's no knowledge.
There's no
right?
knowledge of it.
Yeah, no one really knows what happened to him.
And they
right?
said in that book that over 100 people have died looking for him since he left. Because then the other expeditions that have gone out, all of those have died too.
JRE number 1240, Forrest Galante investigates animals believed extinct, but some may still be hiding in unexplored parts of Earth.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's like what it must be to just be in the Amazon itself as well, right?
For sure.
In the jungle, not just the rivers and the lakes or whatever's out there, but the actual jungle itself.
It was incredible. The jungle there. So we were in Colombian Amazon, and like talk about untouched by people. There's been this kind of ongoing conflict in Colombia for many, many years. So we were the first Westerners to go there in over 60 years. So the village we flew into, they'd literally never seen white people before. And then we went 200 kilometers from that. So like middle of nowhere.
Did they want to touch you?
Yeah, hair. Because their hair was very dark and very different. And like, I'm not particularly fair, but just to touch like the hair and see the blue eyes and stuff, they were just
were they
loving
friendly?
it. Super friendly. Like the culture was very stoic. Like there wasn't a lot of smiling or crying. You know, there wasn't like a lot of emotional exchange. But straight away they came and greeted us, like shook hands, you know, said hello. It was really cool.
Wow, that's gotta be. Now, how do you set something like that up? Do you have like a liaison that like acts as a go-between between you and the tribes?
Yeah, so we did in this case have one guy who communicated. I speak Spanglish, I guess, and they all speak Spanish from back in the day. So we set it all up. It's part of the wildlife stuff that I do. We literally flew a DC-3, a World War II cargo plane, into this cocaine dealer's airstrip.
What?
And then that's how we got there. I mean, like, mind-blowing stuff.
Current cocaine dealer or former?
Former, yeah. Well, you know,
Who knows?
TBD.
It's still Colombia, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
So yeah, I was that one was really cool, really remote.
How crazy is it that they learned Spanish from people who came over on boats from Spain and it just stuck?
Isn't that nuts? And took over the whole like
Region.
Yeah, the whole world. And
Except
here's
for-
this tribe in the middle of the Amazon that has this language from another continent.
Well, and Brazil, right? From Portugal.
Right.
It's really incredible when you stop and think about it. I mean, it's incredible, but it's also part of it's a little sad. Like, wouldn't you have loved to have heard what their original language was?
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
what it sounded like?
Well, they did. So it's funny because when they didn't want us to understand what they were talking about, they would switch to their native Indian language. So they still they were bilingual, a community of 25 people that have never left, and they're bilingual.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Now, their native language is what? What is it?
It's an Amazonian Indian dialect. I honestly don't even, they might have said the name, but I don't recall.
What is the name of their tribe?
Also, I'm not even sure. They're so isolated, they're unaware of what country they live in. They don't even know that they're in Colombia.
Really?
Really. They're just like, to them, they're Amazonian. They're not Colombian, Ecuadorian, Brazilian. They're Amazonian.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So they just stay. Like
Stay.
where they are, they stay.
And the village we were in is literally, I think it's over 200 kilometers from the next village of 15 or so people. And they don't have fuel. They don't have motors. You know, they just in this pocket and they just subsistence live.
And they're all barefoot, right?
Yeah.
Do they have those crazy splayed out feet?
Big feet, you know, because
Yeah.
they're not very big people. They're like small Indian people, but really big, kind of useful feet. And the way that, you know, they could run up and down trees and climb stuff, I mean, it was unbelievable. Like so much more athletic than you could imagine.
I'd imagine, right? They've been doing that their whole life.
Their
right?
whole lives, yeah.
Now, when I say splayed out feet, what I'm talking about is that people that walk barefoot in the jungle for long periods of time, like their whole life, their toes spread out and their feet almost look like a hand.
Oh, no way. I
Yeah.
did not like pay enough attention. That might have
Oh,
been the case,
You
but I
just
didn't
weren't
notice
looking
it.
at their feet.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is kind of a weird thing to stare at dudes' feet.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Steve Ranella, who's a good friend of mine, told me about that. He was in Guyana and is the same thing, and they actually got some pictures and videos of these people's feet. But look at these guys up there.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't notice anything like that.
Yeah, this is the that's how do you say that? Horani,
Sounds right.
Horani, you think?
Huarani.
Horani Indian splayed feet. So it's very strange. Like, it's kind of the opposite of what happens to women when they jam their feet into those little pointy shoes,
right?
Where they get the toes kind of smush onto each other.
The ballet feet.
Yeah, it's horrible. Instead of that, they're all like crazy spread out. What in the fuck is going on there? The guy's got
top
like
of his hands, I think.
wood. Yeah, the top of his hands, but the bottom is like wood feet.
But
Like,
that's got to be like what our feet are supposed to be.
probably right.
Right?
Yeah, thick ass toes that actually have muscles in them that move.
That you can use like a tool, like your hand.
Yeah. So, and these guys just can climb up trees with them, so they grip the side of the tree with their feet like a hand.
Oh, I mean, I didn't notice, like I say, the feet just like that specifically, but the way they could, like, everything's covered in mud down there, right? It's all wet. It rains every day. And they could run up and down these tree trunks, like, to get up and down the village. And here's me and my crew with our awkward cameras and stuff, and we're slipping and sliding and falling over.
Yeah.
And, like, they're literally like, what's wrong with these people? Why can't they walk? We must have looked like infants to them.
Right, and you guys probably have like boots on and shit that
Of
get
course.
muddy and fucked up and.
Oh, totally. Yeah, we're wearing, muck boots, and my one buddy's got waders on, and, we think we're all hard and cool because we got all this gear, and they're just, like, running around in shorts barefoot.
It is so fascinating when you see people that don't have contact with the outside world. Like, I'm sure you're aware of that recent story. The missionary was killed by the people on North Sentinel Island.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which is one of the weirdest places because they've branched off from Africa, 60,000 years ago or something like that.
Right.
When you're around these people, like, what do they do if they get injured?
So funny you asked that because we kind of had that same question, right? And they don't leave. They stay in the village. They have a shaman at the village who blessed us with a crazy green powder, and that's a whole nother story. But they have a shaman, and he is their doctor. However, he has no access to any Western medicine. So it's only his learned knowledge handed down through generations plus jungle powders and whatnot. And that's it. So we spent a day, because we had a medic with us, doing like kind of village help, if you will. Everybody had ringworm. Everybody had respiratory infections. There were a lot of lady problems in the village that our medic had to deal with. I mean, there was a lot of health issues, and you don't even realize it.
I'm gonna write something down before I forget. I'm sorry, it's totally unrelated. But
No, all good.
There's a doctor named Peter Hotez that's coming on the podcast, and I have to follow up on him. When you start talking about the people in the jungle, he's an actual doctor who is he specializes in infectious diseases in jungle and tropical climates, and he's like, everyone's infected with something.
Everyone.
He'd
He'd have a heyday down there.
Yeah, I'm sure it's probably been.
Yeah.
But so when these people have ringworm and all these different infections, do they treat it? Do they have like some naturopathic cure or some shit?
I think it's kind of a 50-50. Like, a lot of it they don't treat because it's just part of everyday life. Like, when I say everybody had ringworm, I meant everybody had it. So I don't think there was any kind of treatment or cure. It was just kind of part of them. Huh. But other things, the witch doctor or the shaman was trying to treat. And then we kind of went in and we had like medication for ringworm, so we dewormed everybody, and with the shaman's blessing, and he was like super excited to have Western medicine in the village. And
would you use like Lamisil or something like that?
I couldn't tell you. I think it wasn't topical. I think it was like a Vermox, like a pill that you take that kills the worms.
The weird thing about that is like, don't you leave and then they're gonna get it again, right?
I mean, there's only so much you can do, right? Yeah, totally. That we were having the same dilemma, and it was like, do we interfere because we're from the outside world? Do we help? And we talked to the shaman through our translator, and he said, please help, please help. So we gave, including him, everybody this dewormer, but, they'll just come back.
Yeah, and also they probably don't understand the consequences of taking some antibiotic that's going to do some weird shit to your whole biome, right?
Right. And
Kills
these are all
the good stuff, too.
It's such a moral dilemma. You're there, and you're like, I want to help. Do I? Is it helpful? Is it hindering?
Yeah.
Our medic was like, it's undeniably going to help. They need this. And so we went for it, and it was, it seemed to help. Everybody felt fine, but we were only there a couple more days before we left. So who knows?
Wow. Now, when you're talking about ringworm, like, are these guys covered in it? They have big patches of it? Like, what's it like?
Feet and legs had big patches of it. Yeah.
And if you don't know, that's the same shit that's athlete's foot.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, ringworm and athlete's foot are the same kind of funk.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's why people tell you to pee on your feet.
Oh, I thought that was
if
just
you
for
have
fun.
It could be for fun. Depends on what you're into. But I think that's the idea behind it, is that you're somehow or another you're killing the bad bacteria when you piss on your feet and you have athlete's foot. That might be horseshit. Maybe, yeah. With me, you always have to check. Yeah, definitely give that a little look-see. But it's a real common thing with jiu-jitsu.
Gotcha.
So guys,
just all the mats.
Yeah, it's real common. So just guys get it, and there's people really fuck up where they like put bleach on it and a bunch of different things to try to kill it, and it winds up getting worse, and also fucks up all the natural skin flora. Jock itch, athlete's foot, and ringworm are all types of fungal skin infections known collectively as tinea. They're caused by fungi called dermatrophytes that live on the skin, hair, and nails and thrive in warm, moist areas, the jungle.
Gross.
So it seems like they're just going to get it.
That's just what it sounds like. But
what
still
do they
trying
do
to help.
for it? What do they do for it?
I didn't see them treating that at all. And when we pointed it out, they were like, yeah, we know about it. They were more concerned with things that were like dire. Like there was an infant, maybe not infant, maybe 3 years old, and he was hacking up a lung. And he was asthmatic, according to our medic. So our medic gave them like an asthma medication, and he just said, if he has an attack where he can't breathe, give him this. And to be super real with you, when we walked away, our medic was like, I doubt he'll live to see adulthood.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
And were you giving him inhalers? Did you give him...
I'm not sure, to be honest, what it was that he left with him.
And what about like injuries? What if they break a leg or something like that? What do they do?
I don't think anything. Yeah.
Was any? I mean, you got to think these people are climbing trees. They must
constantly fall, get bitten by stuff. There's tons of venomous snakes out there. It's wet, it's muddy, it's slippery. They're building stuff out of very rudimentary tools. I mean, it's nuts. They have to get injured.
It's so interesting that we have this understanding of medicine and doctors and hospitals, but that's probably pretty fucking recent.
Oh. Of course, yeah. I'll tell you a story, Joe. I was in Myanmar late last year, and we're down there filming this thing, and this kid, like 22-year-old crab fisherman, gets bitten by a crocodile.
Oh.
Croc grabs him by the arm, grabs him by the thigh, and death rolls. So it breaks the arm in 15 places, compound fracture, the real deal. I can show you pictures of it. It'll blow your mind. And we hear about this, and we're minutes away. It's kind of one of the similar situations where we're the first Westerners to be there in a long time. We go bombing over at high speed, and we get there, and the mom is like off mourning the death of her child, but her child is sitting there still alive. Like they have written him off, and mom is literally mourning the death of her child, and he's lying there conscious, but like in total shock. Fortunately, just because of the situation, we had a speedboat, everything else. We bandaged him up, tried to keep his arm stable and his leg stable, put him in our speedboat, and it was 6 hours by speedboat to a village that had to a hospital, really. And so he got there and his life was saved. But we asked the people in the village, what were you going to do? And they're like, there's nothing we can do.
Wow.
So he was just going to bleed out or go septic, and that was the end of it.
Ooh, what a fucking rough way to go.
Right?
Ooh. How did he get away from the crocodile?
I don't know. I think he was just hitting it or hammering on it. He was crab fishing in the water, and it came up and grabbed him, rolled a few times, and at some point he escaped. How he even got back in the boat and made it back to the village, I have no idea, because his leg was shattered, his arm was shattered. It was brutal. And it was a canoe, It wasn't like he had a little motor or a wheel to drive. He canoed back.
One of the most disturbing stories I ever read was these guys were kayaking in an African river, and the guy in front of them got grabbed by a crocodile, and that it went under, and it plunged like a bobber as the crocodile pulled him out of the bottom of the kayak.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck.
That's awful.
Imagine being the guy behind him and watching that
just
shit.
Just watching, yeah, and knowing that you're pretty much helpless.
Did you see any jaguars or anything?
I've never seen a jaguar. I've seen a lot of lions. I'm from Africa. I don't know if you knew that, but so I've seen a lot of lions growing up. My family did safaris, and then I've seen mountain lions here in California, leopards, stuff like that. I've never seen a wild jaguar.
Really?
Yeah.
Even when you were in the Amazon?
I think they're really elusive. I know there's areas that are hot spots. All of the locals were very nervous and kind of knew about them. Like, I went out for bushwalks at night and stuff, and I'd just go me and one guy with a camera. And they were like, oh, be careful, like peligroso, very dangerous, don't do it. But
Peligroso means very dangerous?
Peligroso, like danger, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so we just go and, I'm not trying to act like we were tougher than them or anything. We would love to have seen one, but they were very aware of them. So they were there. We just didn't happen to run into one.
Sort of like mountain lions.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like they say that mountain lions are like, if you live in a place that has them, you know, Wyoming or Colorado or something like that, they know where you are.
Right.
But
right.
They might be around you all the time, and you might rarely see them. Like
exactly.
Maybe driving home, you see one skittering into the bush.
There was a nuts video, I think it was from the LA area. Did you ever see it, where the security cams picked up this mountain lion that was walking through this like very residential neighborhood, and you'd see like people would walk by, and then 30 seconds later he'd like dip out of the shadows and then dip back in, and then the next set of people would walk by and nobody had any clue he was there.
Yeah, it's crazy that a giant predator can move around like that.
Right.
Yeah, so when you're there, like what would you have done if someone got bit by a venomous snake or a spider or something like that? Did you guys have any anti-venom? Were you prepared for something like that?
I mean, that's my department, right? Like as the wildlife guy, that's kind of my department, is make sure nobody gets bitten, make sure nothing like that happens. And we handled very many venomous snakes and caught anacondas and all kinds of great stuff. We did have, like, my main camera guy, his name's Mitch. He got absolutely lit up by these wasps one night. And we all were. We got like 12, 14 stings each. But I look back in the canoe at one point, and his eyes are just super swollen. He's bright red. He's sweating. I'm like, Mitch, you okay? He's like, His throat started to close up. He was having an allergic reaction. So we had to hit him with antihistamines. And I'm not actually sure if the medic administered the EpiPen or not. But he was like, we're in the middle of the jungle. We're 6 hours from a village that's then a full day's travel by a charter plane from a hospital. I mean, middle of fucking nowhere. And his throat's closing up. And that's why we take a medic with us. Thankfully, we had this emergency medic. He administered the antihistamines, and Mitch was okay. But these things do happen.
Do you ever, like, while you're on these crazy adventures, do you ever out there going, this is the last one?
Nah, never. No way.
Never?
No way, man. I love it. I live for it.
Wow.
JRE number 1284. Hidden beneath the Amazon jungle, scientists are discovering massive geometric structures no one can fully explain.
Some of the more fascinating pieces of evidence in South America have come out recently about these channels and pathways that they've found in the Amazon that could not have been created any other way but by humans creating irrigation, humans creating, like, it appears like grids, like a city grid.
Definitely. The Amazon is a colossal mystery, and it's one of the subjects that I explore in depth in America before. First of all, to give some basic figures, the Amazon basin is huge. The Amazon basin is 7 million square kilometers in area. And within it, 5.5 million square kilometers remains almost entirely unstudied by archaeologists. And that's the 5.5 million square kilometers that is still covered by dense rainforest. And to put that into perspective, 5.5 million square kilometers is the size of the entire Indian subcontinent. So it's like saying, we've done world archaeology, but we've just ignored India, you know. We've done world archaeology, but we've just ignored the Amazon. It's the same argument. 5.5 million square kilometers. The view was, again, there was a dogma. There was a preconception. Human beings couldn't have flourished in the Amazon. It's not a resource-rich area. The soils are poor. It's a difficult area, challenging to get to, very far from the Bering Straits. So the view was that humans hadn't entered the Amazon until about 1,000 years ago. And then gradually, little by little, that view has begun to change. And it's begun to change because of the tragic clearances of the Amazon, because the Amazon rainforest is literally being cut down and turned into soybean farms and cattle ranches. And in that cutting down process has emerged things that shouldn't be there at all. For example, evidence that large cities flourished in the Amazon, enormous cities, which were larger than there was a Spanish explorer who went down the Amazon River system in 1541 to 1542. He was the first European to cross the entire length of South America from west to east along the Amazon. He reported seeing incredible cities, advanced arts and crafts, millions of people, a thriving culture. And 100 years later, when other Europeans got into the Amazon, they couldn't find these cities. So they said, Francisco Orellana, that was his name, made it all up. It was just a fantasy. And then in the last decade, as the clearances of the Amazon have proceeded, we've begun to see the traces of those cities. What happened was that the Spaniards brought smallpox into the Amazon. Smallpox devastated the local population because there was no immunity to it. There was a massive die-off. The cities were deserted. Within 50 years, they were completely overgrown by the jungle, and that's why they were not seen by the explorers who came in 100 years later. But now the jungle's being cleared, those cities are emerging, and we can say that a city like London, which had a population of roughly 50,000 in the 16th century, there were cities of that size all over the Amazon. Wow. Huge numbers of them. And a possible total population of the Amazon that exceeded 20 million people.
What?
Yes, 20 million. This is the latest evidence from the Amazon. And then you ask yourself, how did they do that? How did they feed 20 million people in the Amazon? Because it's a fact, rainforest soils are poor. It's one of the reasons these soybean farms are a really stupid idea, because once you clear the rainforest, the land is largely unfertile and you can't grow stuff on it for very long. So how did they feed all these people? The answer was they invented a soil. And that soil has a name. It's called terra preta. Archaeologists refer to it as Amazonian dark earths or Amazonian black earth. It's a man-made soil. It's thousands of years old. It's full of microbes that are not found in adjoining soil. It's based around biochar. And you can take a handful of 8,000-year-old terra preta and you can add it to barren soil, and that soil will instantly become fertile. It's highly sought after in the Amazon, and it explains how they fed these people. There was science in the Amazon.
How did they create this?
Well, this is something that's not understood. It's still not understood by soil experts to this day as to how that was done, but it's one of many intriguing pieces of evidence of much higher development in the Amazon that it has been given credit for, and of a kind of science in the Amazon.
Jamie's got an image of it up there. So this is it?
This is terra preta, yeah. Exactly,
wow.
Exactly. And
so was that done by burns? Did they use controlled burns?
They did. One way that it was achieved was to do wet burning. Of middens. They would be burned and smolder. They wouldn't burn fiercely, which just produces charcoal. They would burn and smolder, and that what is called biochar would result, and that's part of the fertility of the soil. But the mystery is the microbial content of this soil, which is completely different from the microbes in neighboring soils, and that remains unexplained.
So, what are the theories? Composting, some sort of advanced composting?
Yes, some sort of advanced composting. But again, what has not been explained is the microbial content of these soils. So there first of all is an issue of how two things: how large populations get fed in the Amazon, and evidence that there was a culture in the Amazon that was capable of manipulating the environment in such a way that it could support large populations with the invention of terra preta. Secondly, new evidence previously not recognized: the Amazon is basically a garden. The Amazon is a man-made rainforest. There are certain trees like Brazil nut trees or the ice cream bean tree, which are food crops, which are very, very valuable, and they dominate the tree regime in the Amazon. They're what's referred to as hyperdominant species. In other words, people living in the Amazon over thousands of years selected certain trees, which they then cultivated and grew. So the whole thing is not simply a wild, pristine rainforest. It's a very ancient man-made environment. And emerging from that man-made environment, as well as evidence of large cities, large populations, and this mysterious dark earth, are huge geometrical structures. And again, I go into this at length in America before because I love this mystery. Mm. We have in the UK structures that are called henges. I live in the city of Bath, and about 30 miles away there's a beautiful site called Avebury and another more famous site called Stonehenge. And what a henge is a ditch which has been dug deep, and then an embankment has been pushed up outside the ditch. When people first saw these structures, they wondered if they'd been built for defense. But then it became obvious they hadn't been built for defense, because if you want to create a moat, you put it outside your embankment, not inside your embankment. So a henge is an earthwork which consists of a deep moat with a large embankment outside it. And it can be circular, it can be square, and in the UK and other parts of Europe, it often contains stone circles, megalithic stone circles as well. But the henge itself is entirely an earthwork. What we find in the Amazon are thousands of henges. that are now beginning to emerge from the cleared area of the jungle, and others that have been identified for the first time with LiDAR. LiDAR technology is being employed in the Amazon. It's non-destructive. You can see what's under the trees.
What is LiDAR?
Light imaging and detective radar. They bounce laser beams down into the jungle. There's a whole pattern of them. You need helicopters, and but it doesn't damage the rainforest. And you can strip away and see what's there. If this isn't too much of a diversion, let me give you the example of Guatemala. Guatemala is a small country. If I remember correctly, it's not much more than 100,000 square kilometers in size. It is filled with intriguing Mayan ruins. Everybody has heard of Tikal. What archaeologists didn't know was that literally within walking distance of Tikal, surrounding that whole area were more than 60,000 structures that they hadn't identified. And these have all been identified by LiDAR in a country that's just 100,000 kilometers in area. So you have to ask yourself, in that 5.5 million square kilometers of the Amazon, if LiDAR technology could be applied comprehensively, what would we find beneath there? And the evidence already is extremely tempting and extremely tantalizing. And I'm intrigued by these huge geometrical figures, which involve primarily circles and squares. And they are classic henges in the sense that they are deep ditches surrounded by huge embankments. They're extremely geometrical. For example, you can find an octagon surrounding a square. At a place called Jacosá in the Amazon, you can find a square perfectly enclosing a circle. Now that is an exercise called squaring the circle that our academics have given to the Greeks. They said the Greeks were the first people who performed that exercise. But now we find in dated sites in the Amazon that this was being done in the Amazon long before the Greeks.
What are the dates?
The earliest dates that have been found in these sites now are about 3,500 years old. About 3,500 years old. But the evidence is that the sites have been constantly remade. And what intrigues me is what remains in that 5.5 million square kilometers that has not been investigated yet. We are just, I think, looking at the edges of a mystery. The archaeologists involved, who are mainly from Finland and also from Brazil, feel the same. Their estimate is that there are thousands of these structures remaining in the jungle, and they're open as to how old they may ultimately prove to be. The investigation needs to be done. But what's fascinating about them is this very powerful geometry and astronomy. So a number of the sites are perfectly aligned to true north, true south, true east, and true west. I'm not talking about magnetic north. I'm talking about true astronomical north. To do that, there's only one way to do it, and that's with astronomy. So that tells us that astronomers were at work in the Amazon. The geometry is very complex and very precise. That tells us that people with geometrical skills were at work in the Amazon. And thirdly, the scale of the sites of hundreds of meters, gigantic earthworks on the scale of hundreds of meters, tells us that this was highly organized project that was undertaken on a very large scale by very large numbers of people. It's a wonderful mystery, and it deserves much further attention. And that's Jacosá, exactly, the squares, squaring the circles. So you can see the outside embankment, and then inside it is the square ditch, and then there's another embankment inside that, and a circle inside that.
It's crazy that they made a road right through that. What
well,
assholes.
A modern road, yeah, because there's no respect for the ancient world, unfortunately.
And there's another one. Look at that! Wow, that's incredible.
So there are thousands of these things.
How have they found the stuff that they found in the Amazon? What imaging technology were they using to find all this?
Initially, it was entirely found because areas of the rainforest had been cleared. Economic interests said, we want to make a cattle ranch here, or we want to make a soya bean farm here. So we're just going to clear the rainforest. In the process of clearing the rainforest, they start discovering these earthworks that had previously been completely overgrown by the jungle. Then the next step was to say, what could we do to find out more about this? Obviously, they don't want to destroy more jungle, and luckily we have a technology which is LiDAR, as I mentioned, which uses radar. And using LiDAR, they've been able to identify many more of these sites, and then to get to the sites without destroying the jungle, and to begin excavations on them, and to find that they go back, in the cases of the ones that have been explored so far, at least 3,000 years. This is an intriguing development, completely unexplained in our understanding of the Amazon. And what it suggests is a heritage of extremely ancient knowledge. You don't wake up one morning and create a perfectly geometrical square or circular earthwork that's perfectly aligned to true north, south, east, and west on an enormous scale. There has to be a background to that. There has to be a reason for doing it. And the evidence is none of these sites were lived in. There's no habitation, refuse found in them whatsoever. We don't know what they were used for. I make the case in America before that they're connected to a system of ideas which is found all around the world, which is to do with death and the afterlife destiny of the soul.
JRE 1293. Explorers say parts of the Amazon swallowed entire cities so fast it's like they were erased from history.
Hey, wait, this reminds me of when you talk about that island, that private island, you know,
Yes.
Sentinel
North
Island?
Sentinel
North Sentinel Island?
Yeah.
Planes still fly over that or no? Are they not allowed to fly over that as a
Well,
restricted airspace?
I don't think it's restricted. No. But you can't land there and you can't circle.
Right.
You can't visit.
India owns it, right? Doesn't India control it?
I believe so.
Yeah, and it's like 10-mile radius. Mm-hmm. I saw a thing online that said a boat crashed there, and you could still see on Google Images the remnants of the boat.
Yeah, they came for the people in the boat too, and the helicopters got them off the boat right as the people were like pulling up in
So they
little
lived.
rafts and shit. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, they lived, but the villagers were coming for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can you imagine stumbling across a village?
They've been fucked with sometime in the past. You know, that Commander Maurice Vidal Portman,
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Respectable Law on Twitter. He has a giant thread about it. It may be pinned on the top of his Twitter page, but explaining like one of the reasons why those people are so hostile.
Right.
And it has to do with this British explorer who was really kinky. And
You went there to fuck?
yeah, who knows
He
what
wanted
he
Fuck
did.
Island?
Who
Yeah.
knows what he did, but people got sick because of him. You know, I had this guy, Graham Hancock, on,
Yeah.
and he was talking to me about all the different shit that they're finding in the Amazon and in South America, and that there used to be 20 million people that lived in the Amazon, and they died off because of sickness. They were visited mostly, like, apparently Europeans, when they came in like the 1500s, they would tell these incredible stories about these huge civilizations in the Amazon. But then when explorers came back 200 years later, there was nothing there. And they were
Wow.
like, this is crazy. They lied. They must have lied. But it turns out they didn't lie. What happened was smallpox ran through the fucking jungle and
White
killed
people.
everybody.
We did it.
And then the jungle just overtook these cities. And now they're finding these cities with something called LiDAR. They use these planes and they circle over this area, or helicopters, whatever the fuck they do. And they shoot this shit down, this LiDAR. It's like laser radar. And it gives you a detailed image of what's below the surface and what's
Holy
there.
shit.
And it shows them all these crazy structures, all these like roadways and irrigation systems and circles inside of a square. Like, it was villages and cities, and millions of people probably lived there.
Fuck.
And look at it. That's all the stuff they're finding now.
What?
Yeah. And all of it was swallowed up by the jungle. They think within like 100 years, it just vanished in the jungle.
Wow.
Because it's so lush and tropical down there. Dude, it was one of the most amazing podcasts I've ever done. Listening to that guy tell this story.
Right after this one, though.
No, you are the best. You're the best. But he's
This is kind of this is like
different-
this is like the findings of Atlantis, right? Like when they started finding, you started finding
Very
more and more
simple.
land
Have you
underground.
seen this? They found traces of 5 drugs, including dimethyltryptamine, on 1,000-year-old South American ritual kit.
DMT, baby.
So that's like proof positive evidence that at least 1,000 years ago they were using ayahuasca.
This was the drug pouch that was made from fox snouts. That
Yeah.
sounds so crazy.
Fox
but, like,
nose.
It literally when you see it, it looks like a nose. of a fox.
They used everything.
And the fur
That
is
is
still
crazy.
intact. It looks really nice.
The nose. I wonder why they do that with a fox. It's probably like some cleverness.
Something.
Do you know that that's what a shaman, that's like literally what a shaman is supposed to, that's what the definition is supposed to be in certain cultures?
Huh.
Certain cultures, it's a clever fellow. That's who the shaman is.
It kind of makes sense. They are just clever fellows.
But I mean, imagine that. Like, he takes a fox, that clever little fucker. I'm going to take his face.
I want
and
his
hide
fucking
my
face.
drugs in his face. Only a person would think to do something so
I'm gonna
creepy.
hide my drugs in this
Or
thing's
an
nose.
insect.
Chipmunk cheeks.
Yeah, right? That would be the
Some
good
big
move.
pouch.
Yeah, a little pouch.
Those are good pouches.
that hangs from your belt. It's just chipmunk cheeks with all your coins in it.
JRE number 2209. Explorers say once you see signs of hidden tribes in the Amazon, there's only one safe decision: turn back immediately.
I did an expedition right before Lex came. I did an expedition in March, and me and JJ went to the back. We basically picked a part of the Amazon that we'd never been to and went, let's go see what's over there. And it took us.
You just picked a spot.
We picked a spot because it was around in a place that, like, on the map, there's no towns, there's no nothing. So we said, let's go there. And it took us a week. We had to take a commercial flight to a smaller flight to a smaller flight, and then we had to take a boat for 3 days, 9 hours a day, to get to the start of the expedition.
Now, when you do that, do you check to see if there's uncontacted tribes that have been reported in those areas?
What you do is you get to the last town, and you go,
You wait.
what's that way? And they tell you. And the scariest thing, and this was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life, was that there were these tiny little people there, and there was like normal Peruvians walking around, like loggers, gold miners. They're chainsaws. There's people who had gasoline barges. There's also prostitute boats that drive around, like brothels that go
On
up
a
and down.
boat?
Yeah, and you can pay them in wood. Surprisingly enough, board feet of timber, no joke.
Whoa.
Yes, you get to the real, like, this is a place where, like, you feel like you went in a time machine, and you get out there, and there's people with modern machines, but then off in the corner there were these little people, and they were still holding onto their bows and arrows, and you look at them, and as soon as you look at them, they hide. And we were like, who are they? And they're like, those are the Nawa. And we were like, what's going on with the Nawa? And it turns out that the Nawa were shooting at the oil company guys that were trying to get into this deep, again, a part of the forest that never has been accessed before. Now it's starting, people are reaching deeper into the Amazon. And the problem is they'd be going up this river, and there'd be arrows flying by them.
Oh, my God.
So how'd they solve that problem? They funded the missionaries, sent the missionaries out there to talk to the Nawa and convince them to come back to the nearest town. So these are uncontacted tribes who are right there. Like, we're standing there, like, kind of talking to them. We're like, hola. And
How do the missionaries communicate with them?
the missionaries go, like, Bible up, and they just hope. And they just fucking hope.
Are these the Mormons? Like, what groups?
I actually don't know. 'Cause
Mormons love to do that.
I don't know what group it was. I know I saw the missionary, and he gave me a dirty, evil look and walked away. Like, this is dark shit. It was
The
dark shit.
missionary gave you an evil look.
Oh, no,
That's
these are not
interesting.
people that are okay. And so these terrified, think about this for a second.
So what are the missionaries up to?
They're working for the oil companies. They're clearing out the forest. They're clearing the way. They're just doing it peacefully.
But are they actual missionaries, or are they acting as missionaries?
Whatever it is, they're going with the missionary protocol, getting these people to come in. So what they did was, through 2 translators from Spanish to Yine to Nawa to something, we asked this guy, and we had to stay away because we didn't want to get them sick. And we had to say, like, what are you doing here? And the guy was like, I'm trying to go back to my house, like where I live, not my house, my jungle. And he said, these missionaries said if I came here, that then they'd help me in the food and. And they were very confused because the missionaries had brought back a boatload of them and kind of tricked them, because then when they got to the town, they just showed up to capitalist society, which, even though it's super remote, they're like, you want food? You got to buy it. And these people have a bow and arrow, but there's no more animals around because they've killed everything.
God.
And they go, but I want to go home. And the missionaries go, well, do you got gasoline? Now they're stuck.
Oh, my God. And how far?
Like 3 days of driving in a boat, so like 70 miles by river.
Oh, my God.
And so these poor people are coming into modern society 1,000 years late with their wooden bow and arrows. They're this big. They're tiny little people, and they're terrified, and no one's helping them.
Oh, my God.
And it's the edge of the world, and it's exactly when I was reading this Comanche book on that expedition, and I'm going, this is the same thing. It's that manifest destiny. This is the end of their culture. There's no one who's going to help them. And they were just terrified, sitting there at the edges of the streets, and all these people are riding by on like motorcycles and rickshaws, and there's boats going by, and these people are trying to look for like a rat to shoot.
Oh, my God.
It was terrifying.
Oh, my God.
It was terrifying. I felt so bad for them because they had no idea. You could see they had no idea.
And they don't even speak the language.
They don't even speak. They're 2 degrees separated with language. So like you could speak Yine, which is the local tribal language there, but these people don't even speak that. They speak their language. So you'd have to go from Spanish to Yine to Nawa.
Oh, my God.
And we were there, and these people were going.
So how does someone know Nawa that you talked to?
Because one of the Yine guys that I knew was had been living there, so he'd picked up a few Nawa words, and so they were going. So
these people, how long have these people been there for?
I didn't get that, but they were literally living in a camp at the where the trees were. They stayed by the trees. They wanted to be by the trees.
Oh my God!
And so there's people you could buy a Coca-Cola there. This was you could buy gasoline, Coca-Cola, whatever. Way out there, there's a boat that has some gasoline cylinders. You can fill up your boat, and then this is the long. It's during the gold rush in Alaska. It's the last place before you go into the wild.
Oh my God!
And it was really horrible to see. And I think reading that the Empire of the Summer Moon made it even worse because
that's so dirty. So they trick these people into going to the town, and they just abandon them.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And these people, how could they know that someone would do that to them? They don't even know
no
what a town is like,
idea.
right?
They don't even know what a town is
Oh
like.
my
They're terrified.
God.
And so they're still, you see them, they're washing by the river and they're trying to feed their babies, but they're
probably
starving.
no one gives a fuck.
And no one gives a fuck. And they're
Oh
treated
my
like dirt
God.
too, because humans are humans, and so
Right.
no one wants to help them. Nobody could talk to them. And then of course they're kind of frustrated, right?
Right.
So they're not exactly friendly either.
Right. Wow.
So yeah, crazy.
Have you seen that overhead fit? There's a view, a camera is on the helicopter or something, and it's photographing these guys, and they're all fucking pointed bows and arrows. This one. How wild is that?
You think that's wild? I can show you something that I can't show publicly, but look at this.
Really?
Yeah, I got something that no one's seen.
Ooh.
This is from last week.
I'm gonna show everybody.
No, you're not. This is from last week.
Oh wow.
So what Joe's looking at right now is a bunch of uncontacted tribes standing in the rain, and again, they don't speak the language of the people that are trying to interact with them. So this is across a river.
Are these those same people that were in that town?
These are not the Nawa. This is a different tribe.
Oh my God, man, this is wild. This is like imagining what it would be like to run into people hundreds of thousands of years ago.
Are you on the single guy yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible, man. I mean, that guy looks like someone from the past.
Yep.
He doesn't look like someone from now.
Yeah. And so what they did was they sent them a canoe full of bananas. Now that guy's standing there in the cold, shaking his head he might just not know the word for blanket.
It's insane, man. This is incredible.
Yeah.
And these are essentially some of the last people on Earth like this.
Yeah, and so there's a huge debate about how we protect them because there's two camps. There's some people that say, they're running scared during the Industrial Revolution. They pushed further out and they're too scared to come in and get help. And then there's other people that go, no, they're noble savages and they live out there because they want to and they're the last free people. But looking at these videos and seeing some of the stuff, they're trying to carefully interact with some of the most remote tribes. And so there's people that live 7 days from the nearest town that speak a dialect of native language in the Amazon, and the tribes will come out and they'll come out and they'll come out and they'll just look. They'll look at them. They'll make gestures. They'll do things. But if you get too close to them, they shoot you.
Ugh.
So you can't just go up to them and be like, hey, man, what's up? Do you want some eggs?
Right.
You can't do that.
Right.
So what happens is this standoff on either side of the river where you have people that live a remote lifestyle and are very, very indigenous, but that can still interact with us, that the modern world have seen a dollar before, have seen a spoon, the wheel, blah, blah,
Wearing
blah.
an Under Armour t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. And then these people show up and they got their dicks tied to their stomachs and they wear no clothes and they're making sounds. Sometimes they're using animal calls.
They tie their dicks down so they don't get scratched up.
They tie them up. So if you look at this dude here, look, I'll just pause it on when he's.
That's so gangster.
It's like, yeah, man, I gotta tie it up. Otherwise,
I mean, think about the stuff they're walking through.
you don't want to drag it on the ground.
Where everything's got a thorn.
So look at that. He's
Wow.
got that thing tied up. But yeah, you don't want to get in. I guess you don't want mosquitoes having access to the head.
That could be a problem.
That could be a problem.
Aren't there little fishies that swim up your dick hole too?
That's only if you're peeing in the water.
Oh.
A much worse thing is when you take a shit in the jungle.
Uh-oh.
All the bugs are coming for you.
Oh,
so you gotta
no.
be on dick patrol while you're doing that because you're gonna get bug bites on your ass, but you gotta make sure
They don't go in your asshole.
Well, sure.
Right? Does that
There's
happen?
that too, yeah. Because as soon as you
Christ.
crouch, dung beetles bigger than golf balls start flying through the air. So
Oh
as
my
you're trying to
God.
take a shit in the
So
Amazon,
they know when an animal
as soon as you
crouches.
fart, there are animals following you. And so you're sitting there, and you have to. There's a bunch of things you got to do. First, you got to break your stick, right? So you have like some leaves. The leaves is to keep your ass bug free, to get the
my
mosquitoes
God.
away. And then the other thing you got to do is you got to be holding a tree because you're crouching, right?
Right.
But then you use your ass stick to swat away the dung beetles because
Oh,
they come in.
boy.
Zzz, and one dung beetle hit my friend Mosin in the eyeball, and like scratched his actual eyeball because it flew straight. And they have rhinoceros horns coming out of their faces,
Yeah.
and their exoskeletons brutal, and they're heavy. It's a big bug, and they're airborne, and they're moving quick, and when they want your shit because and they're gonna take it, and they're gonna roll it into balls, and they're gonna push it through the jungle, and they're gonna lay their eggs in it.
Oh God.
So yeah, taking a shit in the jungle is like a whole. You have to know how to do it. If you don't know how to do it, you could end up in a lot of trouble.
Good Lord, man. So many things to think about, and this is your everyday existence.
Yeah.
When you went to that spot,
Yeah.
when you decided let's go there, and it takes you 3 days, and you get up there and you see these people, did you wind up going deeper into the jungle and seeing how they actually live?
So,
Can you, or is it dangerous?
well, both. Well, I had some trackers with me who were extremely experienced in all of this. They knew where we could and couldn't go, and we went on it took us a week to get to the launch point, and then we went on a 6-day expedition from there, where we're eating fish out of the river, we're drinking out of the river, camping on the beaches. And then we did reach a point where they found signs of uncontacted tribes.
And that's when it gets dangerous.
And they went, we're going back.
Wow.
100% going back. I mean, you have to. For everyone's, there's absolutely no way that you can continue going. You're going to either get killed or be killed. Like it turns into. I mean, these guys turned around, they loaded the shotguns, and they were like, we turned around this moment. They turned to the boat, and the moment that you
because
find,
they know you're there before you know they're there.
Oh, they know you're there.
Yeah, if you're coming in a boat too, it's probably making a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
They hear that thing from a long ways out.
3 weeks ago, some loggers, they found them. They were the chainsaw. The loggers were chainsawing on the Tawamanu River. The loggers were, from the look of I'm kind of Sherlock Holmesing the image I saw. The loggers were cutting this log. They were dead where they were standing. So you think these guys are going cutting this log, and the tribes are surrounding them. They had no idea.
Wow.
And they just started throwing arrows from the shadows, and so they found the bodies of 2 loggers.
See if you can
just
find
taken
that,
out.
Jamie.
This was within August. Peru tribes killed. There's a picture, like a blurry picture of it.
Of the loggers?
They don't show you anything. It's just when it comes in.
I
the
bet you
media,
could find it.
What if the jungle itself isn't natural, but the last trace of a forgotten human civilization?
Things just.
All those people.
I didn't realize that. That's really
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
The really wild stuff that's being done in the Amazon is LiDAR.
Oh, I know.
Where they're finding all this evidence of these ancient structures that were just overcome by the jungle.
Have you seen the Honduran lost city of the monkey god?
Yes.
So great.
Yeah.
There's a
that.
legit full civilization in
Yeah.
Honduras, like a bustling city that they found in LiDAR 2 or 3 years ago, using LiDAR 2 or 3 years ago.
Just
like,
empty.
empty.
Gone.
But
Yeah.
like a full scale city, not like a village or a town,
Yeah.
like tens of thousands. Yeah, look at that.
Fucking wild.
Yeah.
But it totally makes sense, man. If you bring in smallpox, I mean, smallpox kills like 90% of the people that get it.
Right.
So it just fucking decimated the populations of these places where these European settlers made through. That's the whole story behind the lost city of Z, you know.
I knew that the city went away and Percy,
Yeah.
Percy went to look for it with his son and his son's friend, blah, 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 blah. But I didn't realize that the idea that smallpox had wiped it out was the reason behind
Well,
it.
the theory behind it is, and all sorts of diseases, not just smallpox, but that when the Europeans first came through and they first reported about these immense cities,
They were there.
Yeah, they were there.
Yeah.
And so then when people came back like 100 years later, they're like, this is bullshit.
Right.
Because the jungle would just overcome everything.
And it can in so little time.
So little time.
It's crazy. The rate of growth,
Yeah.
when the jungle's left alone is unbelievable.
And then there's the weirdness that the jungle itself is actually man-made.
Whoa, hold on. I don't know about this.
You didn't know that?
No, tell me.
Yes. Most of the plants that are overwhelming the rainforest are from agriculture. They're
From ancient civilizations.
Yeah, I think it's like the ice cream bean tree and a bunch of other different trees. But these trees were all trees that had been grown. Yes, it is actually man-made. one of thousands of earthworks built by remarkable but little-known ancient societies. The Amazon, prior to the arrival of Europeans in the Americas in 1492, is commonly depicted as a pristine wilderness dotted with small, simple communities.
Wow.
The Amazon rainforest created. Click on that one. The supposedly pristine, untouched Amazon rainforest was actually shaped by humans. Over thousands of years, native people played a strong role in molding the ecology of this vast wilderness. So these trees that overwhelm the rainforest, they were planted.
They're cultivated.
Yeah, and then they just run amok.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're just really fertile, and the ground. They had developed this type. Was it called terra preta? Terra preta, is that what it's called? They had developed a very specific type of soil that they actually, it's a soil that
I know
actually,
about this.
Yeah.
And we've been unable to replicate it.
Exactly.
Yes,
yeah.
I do know a bit about that. Yeah. But I guess the
Terra
difference...
preta, yeah.
Terra
that's
preta.
it.
But I guess the difference being those were all native plants, right? So while the Amazon may have been cultivated by different tribes in the Amazon, they're not getting those plants or trees from anywhere but the immediate surrounding area, right? I mean, maybe not immediate, but within the South Americas.
I'm not exactly sure.
Right? Because it's not like they're importing olives from Spain, right? Like they're using the resources.
Yeah, I don't think they're saying they're invasive. I'm just thinking they're cultivated.
But that's fascinating.
Yeah,
because
it's amazing.
You certainly don't think of that. And you don't think of, at least in today's world, I don't think of the Amazon as being populous. I mean, I'm not talking about Manaus and cities.
Yeah,
I'm talking about
right.
the wild Amazon. You don't think of civilizations being able to impact that much vastness.
Graham Hancock thinks there was 20 million people living in it.
20 million?
Yeah.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
He thinks it is a vast society
that
was filled with human beings and structures, and this is all being like, they have only used LiDAR in a very small percentage of the Amazon. Of
course, yeah.
And they're showing all sorts of structures and irrigation systems and grids that indicate cities and blocks. It's wild stuff, man.
I mean, it sort of makes sense in the sense of the abundance of resources down there, right? It's easy to grow a population when you have so much natural resources. Everything that you plant grows. There's another side of that argument that I've heard paleontologists make, where like when things are too easy, people don't evolve, right? That's a different side of that coin. But if you think about it from like a logical standpoint of when things are easy, it's easy to increase your population. And, when you're not fighting for survival every day because there's coconuts and palm trees and blah, 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 it's easy to reproduce and have more kids and grow a society versus when you're spending half of your life just trying to get by.
That's an interesting argument, that when things are easy, that people don't grow or evolve. That seems weird to me, because it would seem to me that once your resources were taken care of, once you have food and shelter, you have more time to think. So you have more time to make life convenient, more time to sell goods that would be valuable to people, more time to improve and innovate on those goods.
But the argument is, when things are too easy, you don't push the status quo. So because there are so many abundant resources, you have no need to develop tools and technologies that advance society. So the argument, I don't remember the scientist that said this, is basically if you look along the band of the equator, those are at this time, and this is an older publication, I believe, those were the least developed societies in the world. As you get further away from the equator, up into the not the Arctic, but like up into Scandinavia and so on and so forth, you get more and more advanced civilizations. Because when there's a hard winter coming, or it's just harder to survive, even though there's abundant resources, you need to adapt and overcome and develop in order to prepare for that winter, in order to prepare for a famine time period, versus when it's all just available to you at any time.
The reason why that doesn't make any sense is Egypt.
Sure. Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense, because that's the absolutely most sophisticated culture, but pre what we understand of history.
Yeah, true. But not on the equator. It is quite far from the equator.
It is far from the equator, but it's also like very lush.
Very.
Like the Nile Valley, they think, 9,000 plus years ago was like extremely lush.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why they were able to reach this high level of sophistication, because they had access to resources.
Which aligns with the idea that the Amazon had the same things.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, by the way. I think that if you have an abundance of food and resources, you have a better ability to create.
Yeah, that's what that makes more sense to me. But I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think
Correct.
both things could exist.
I agree.
Like you could have it too easy, or you could have it to the point where there's plenty of food to hunt and gather, and you see no need to move out of the hunter-gatherer stage.
Sure.
But then you could also see like super sophisticated societies that lived in that area, like they think the Amazon was.
Right. Right.
That they would innovate.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
then
it makes
also,
sense.
you have a large population. Even if it's a small percentage of people innovating, it's gonna impact the great number of people.
If you have enough people, there's
Yeah.
going to be people that are creating, right?
Yeah.
There's no way there aren't.
Yeah, and then people came through there with their
And
coughed
just-
on everybody and fucking killed them off.
And that's that.
Which is really wild, man. It's really wild if that is true. That how horrific that is, that they just basically reset everybody back to the Stone Age.
And if you think about, has that happened before and will it happen again?
Yeah.
You know, I remember distinctly thinking, well, at first, I think might have told you this story. When COVID hit, I was in Indonesia and I was like, this is stupid. It's like bird flu. It'll all be over in 10 days. And boy, was I